Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Medusa Project, episode number 2. I am Miranda Pearson, my purpose and empowerment coach, and we're here to cover Medusa and how she was treated back in the day, and how women can relate to her story now. So, and I hope you watch the episode 1. If you have not, please go and watch that because this episode won't make any sense unless you watch the first one. So we're gonna get into it. So Medusa was punished instead of protected. So we're gonna get into a little bit of how she was punished, why she wasn't protected, and some of the backstories of how it can relate to the women today. Brittany, you want to take over?
Yeah, so basically, to do a quick recap, everybody knows that Medusa was violated in Athena's temple by Poseidon. From the story told, there was no key moment to where like anybody, had where she had confided in Athena, where she had talked to Athena. I guess mainly that from what I have read in my research, it was just understood in what happened. Now, before that, Medusa served as a very loyal priestess to Athena. And Athena and Poseidon are on the same level. Okay, there's not one above the other. So when it comes out what happened to Medusa, Athena at that point in time turned it into rage and anger, not towards Poseidon, but towards Medusa. She turned her into a gorgon for desecrating her temple. And I think that's where some of the anger comes in. It was a betrayal on Athena's part. I guess the loyalty, the betrayal, and the cause of her silence because she never spoke up. She never said anything. Medusa had been silent through the whole situation, but she
Mm-hmm.
was still punished one way or the other. And I'm sure she would have been punished had she spoke up. But even staying silent, she was still punished.
Right. And that is the craziest thing to me. You would think a woman, would look out for another woman if she's been traumatized in that way, but it doesn't always happen like that.
But do you think there
Unfortunately,
was some jealousy involved?
I don't know.
I do, personally. I do. I mean,
In today's day and age, you could say that there was. I mean, would that be a thing back then? I know today, that could be a lot of the problem in some of these situations.
There is
right.
actually some interpretations that say that Athena was angered by the violation and Medusa's lost chastity, which was a requirement for her to be a priestess, of course. And that's why she punished Medusa because it was easier to reach her than Poseidon. So she wanted to take it out on Medusa instead of going to the actual cause.
So basically, like she was an easier target then.
Yeah.
Wow. And that is something that people do a lot today.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's real easy to say, why was Medusa punished for what was done to her? That's a good question. Why is any woman punished for the things that are done to them?
Right, exactly.
Well, just like Jordin said, I have my own Medusa story, not with me, but with one of my girls. And I can totally see how it's easier to go after the victim than it is after the perpetrator. Because, the perpetrator sometimes comes off as this like perfect person who is higher than everyone. And you don't want to think that that one would do anything like that. So it's so much easier to blame the victim and say, oh, you were being, what's the word, promiscuous or, leading him on or whatever, when that wasn't the case at all. And so that's why I was asking about the whole jealousy thing, if, maybe that played a part in it.
It really could be. I mean, and it very well could have been. And, like Jordin said in, the previous episode, he kept pursuing her, and she kept rejecting him because she was loyal to her job. She was loyal to Athena as, her priestess.
Yes. So I may have missed this, but so when Medusa, she was working or she was with Athena. Is that her name?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so was she not supposed to be protecting her, or did she not take accountability for her letting that happen to her, basically? Um, because you would think that if she was, the leader that she portrayed to be, she would have there would have been a different outcome. Um, so, but just hearing her story just lets me know what kind of woman Athena had always been.
Right.
And for Medusa to be in the energy of Athena, I mean, because they seem to have been two total opposite people. And I don't know what made Medusa even, join with Athena, but you would think that there would have been some sort of conflict there to begin with.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, going back on what you said with the protection aspect, you would think with her being her priestess that she should have been there. If she just automatically knew that her temple had been decimated, why would she have not known with her being a goddess? The same level as Poseidon, that something was wrong.
Right, exactly.
And let me double check because I think, and Jordin, you may know the answer to this because I just looked it up actually. Athena was the goddess of wisdom, I do believe.
Oh wow.
Let me double.
That may have been how she knew to begin with.
Yeah, the
Mm.
goddess of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So if she
Wow.
automatically knew that her temple had been desecrated, then why did she not know that Medusa had been violated?
Mm-hmm.
There are also reports stating where Athena is very not a compassionate woman. Or not woman, she is a deity. But that talks about how even though she had people that loved her because of who she was not very compassionate to her followers either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine her being compassionate too. If she done that to Medusa, she couldn't have been compassionate.
I
I'm
did
almost
find out.
wondering.
Go ahead, y'all.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
sorry.
Emily.
I did
No.
just read where it said that serpents were also very special to Athena. So that I thought that was very interesting that she would choose a monster with the head of a gorgon with the snakes coming out of the hair. That's just very interesting to see.
Mm.
Jordin, that is exactly what I was going to hit on. So, like, I guess because I always see the glass half full and I'm always positive, I'm wondering if Athenian turned Medusa into a monster to protect her. Like, if she's a monster, nobody's gonna want her type thing.
Yeah, I think she did it out of spite. I think she done it because I feel like she done it because she did feel that, well, she was just hateful and mean, and she wanted to blame somebody. As Jordan said, she couldn't get to the person that she really wanted, so she did Medusa the way she did Medusa. But
That is a
the
good debate
betrayal,
question.
what was that, Brittany?
That is a good debate question because my opinion, I think it was done out of spite.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm.
Jordin,
I think I'm neutral because I do want to see, glass half empty, glass half full kind of thing like Emily. However, I have done research that has stated where they have found probable cause that she could have done this out of a way to protect Athena, or not Athena, I'm sorry, protect Medusa. Make her, because she was supposed to be the most beautiful, the most, radiant, had all the qualities, things like that. And so, because Poseidon had placed her on the same pedestal as Athena as far as beauty goes, it could very well have been a way to protect her from other pursuers.
Yeah.
which I can see that side, but myself personally, I think it was done out of spite. So I think we're about even on that board on that one.
Yeah.
I
But we would definitely like to know what our
Yes,
viewers think on that question.
yes, definitely. Because I think that is a good debate on the situation. Was it done for power and vengefulness or done for protection?
I'm
And
a
if
good
it
70-30.
was,
There they go again. Emily, you go ahead first this time.
if it was done for power and vengefulness, wouldn't it be great if that plan just blew up in her face and like all of that harm and all of that, like, I guess, curse is actually what ended up protecting her anyways? Like,
Right. What was you going to say, Jordin?
Oh, I was gonna say I'm a good 70-30%. Like, I think it was done out of spite, but that tiny little sunshine in me wants to say it was good.
And the crazy thing about it, the part that comes full circle, is later on in the story, Athena puts her head on her shield, Medusa's head on her shield as protection. So, which could also lead to the, she knows she was powerful and protected aspect too. So, I mean, I think it's a very good conversation to be had, not just amongst us, but among the viewers as well. On, what
Yes,
is their take on it?
yes, because I'm interested to know, to see what everybody think about that question, what everybody's answers are.
Yeah, because on my with it being done in spite, that is, could be part of Medusa's anger, how she had served, Athena so loyally, and done her job to the best of her ability, and felt that she was betrayed by her.
Not only was she betrayed by being turned into a gorgon, but later on in the Greek mythology, or the mythology, um, Athena is the one that helped Perseus kill Medusa. She is the one that gave him the shield that deflected Medusa's gaze. So she was ultimately the end of Medusa. After everything that she did for her, she was still ultimately the end. So I think actually that leads me to believe more. I'm more like 90-10 at this point on the spite level.
Yes, y'all. Let's get into a little bit of the misplaced anger and the systematic failure that went
Yes.
on. Yes, because out of everything, Medusa was loyal. She loved her people, and for them to fail her like that, it was just not okay, not acceptable, and it's still done this way today.
mm,
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those situations, the reputation over people. Did she do it because of the precedence that Poseidon held compared to Medusa?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because he was higher up on the social scale, for lack of better words, than she was. That happens today in a lot, not just in the violation, the way that Medusa was violated, but for a lot of different reasons.
Right. Right.
I think it definitely portrays the imbalance between, you know, I guess like, mythology speaking, the imbalance between gods and mortals and how, divine anger can be misdirected onto the vulnerable people. But, in an everyday sense, that can be thought of as, like people in a higher power that tend to look down on people that are more vulnerable, like the homeless, a lot of women, well, I mean, most women, we suffer in silence because we are vulnerable and we don't know how to show that side of ourselves.
Exactly.
And
And so
that's
there's a
and
lot of
that.
modern. Go ahead, Miranda.
Oh, I was gonna say that comes with shame, the fear of just people looking at you differently.
Self
Yeah.
blame, fragmented identity.
Yes. Yep.
fear of no one believing.
Yes, because in stories like Medusa, um, the truth is punished.
Yes.
So women get into that headspace. Why they're not going to believe me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yes. But in reality, like when I know it doesn't happen like this for us, but in today's time, whenever someone's out telling their story of, this happened to me and I felt betrayed and I'm hurt, they do tend to look at that person differently.
Right.
And I don't understand the logic behind it, but for me, it would immediately, trigger. Oh, I need to help this person. you know, to me, that's a normal thing to do. But if someone were to do the total opposite, or to blame to blame the person, like, well, what did you do? Okay, well, why did I have to do anything for this to happen to me?
Right.
So, but that's the first thing that people, they tend to judge without even, knowing the whole story. Or
I think
And that's
ultimately the story of Medusa, it goes from, themes of victim blaming, silence, women silencing, and goes from the lowest of lows to transforming yourself to, finding yourself. I mean, Medusa, the head of Medusa, like she was on Athena's shield, but she has been used, especially in, like feminist cultures these days, as a power, a power woman. And a
Mhm.
lot of people are learning her story and it's coming out. Like we were talking about in the former episode, we didn't know her story and now everybody is learning it. It's like, it's crazy how much or how washed out things can be until you really open your eyes.
Mhm.
yes.
And the funny thing is, when we read Medusa and, we're talking about the whole Greek mythology thing in school, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't pay attention. And now I'm
Yeah.
wishing that I had.
Right.
Now I'm wishing that like I want to actually go back and read and
hmm
find out
Yeah.
what's really going on because there's a lot there to unpack.
Yes, because they definitely left some stuff out of there.
And that's how the story continued over times. It was not the full story. And yeah, I didn't like history in school, but that is one part that I paid attention to was the stories of the Greek gods and goddesses. I always liked it.
hmm
Um, but like a perfect example. Have you ever been blamed for your reaction to harm? Because I think that's Medusa's story in general.
Right.
I know I've been blamed. Why did you act like that? Why did you go that way? Well, look what you did to make me that way. Not to make me, because we are in charge of our own actions, but that's not the right wording. But you know what I mean.
Hmm.
It just goes to show that once you're pushed hard enough, you can only take so much.
Hmm.
We are people, we are women, but that doesn't make us any less emotional human beings. We are not blocks. We feel and we love and we carry a lot more weight on our shoulders than we should.
Yes.
Hmm.
And
And
that's
I
how. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Emily.
I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm thinking in my head how like the government and like the jails and institutions today don't do a good job of helping um bring this type of stuff to light and really um educate us on how often this happens, how often the victims get blamed, how often, there's women and even kids who are judged for stuff like this happening to them. And I really, really feel like our institutions could do a better job of that.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree with that one, and I think it happens more often than people even realize it does. And that's why a lot of people don't speak up in these situations, not just with the violation like Medusa's, but other ones in general. That's why they don't speak up on them. That's why they don't talk about them. That's why they're like, well, it is what it is. Because a lot of times the voices aren't heard.
Us as women are taught to carry the world on our shoulders.
Hmm.
And like you said, sometimes it is what it is. And that is something that I think, the Medusa Project is going to help a lot of women unravel that it's not okay. It's okay to speak up. It's okay to say, this is not okay.
Yes.
No is a whole sentence.
Hmm. Without needing an explanation, no is no.
Yes.
But do you know how lucky we are to know that?
Very much so.
Like there's like even me a couple of months ago, I didn't realize that no was a full sentence. It was no because or no and this is why or no but no is no, you know?
Yep. And that's it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter the reason. It doesn't. You don't have to give a reason.
Okay. Did we do um, how silence becomes survival until it becomes suffocation? Now, when I read that sentence, that it was like alarms went off
Yeah.
all over, because that sentence alone is just powerful. How silence becomes survival until it becomes suffocation. And now this could be a message to somebody, or just just people, women in general. If you are out there and your survival has become suffocation, that means you need to tell somebody.
Yeah.
So it's go to somebody that you can trust and get it off your chest. Do something about it, because it is you keeping it down in the inside. It is tearing you up. It is causing you to be sick, to hurt physically, mentally, emotionally. You may not have great relationships with your family, but don't just hold it in. Go out there to whoever you can trust. You can come to somebody on this panel. We are all coaches, and we are all on the same platform. We're in the same company, the same business. Okay, and but I'm gonna be quiet about that. But I felt like I needed to say that because um, my alarm bells was going off. But don't let that survival become suffocation.
No.
I'll tell somebody.
It's okay to be heard.
Yes, your story needs to be heard. You need to
Yes.
be. Yeah.
You deserve to be heard.
Yes.
So coming back around here, and I have not been in this situation myself. But what does betrayal by a trusted authority feel like?
Let me say that one more time, Brittany. I'm sorry. I was
What does
trying to write
betrayal
that.
by a trusted person feel like?
Mm.
Hmm. So
Exactly. Well,
um
there's no takers on that one at all, huh?
yeah. Ooh, there's no prickly pears on that one at all.
Yeah.
Um I Omega, can I use you as an example for our podcast? Are you okay with that? We're talking about Medusa and how she was violated. Okay. So my 13-year-old, you were 13 at the time. Um, when we found out she was 13, that she was violated in the worst way possible by a family friend. We'd known this guy for 20 plus years. And when it's someone that you trust like that,
Mhm.
like legit the one person that my husband and I let her go with, um, it does something to you. You start to second guess everything. Um, the shoulda, coulda, woulda, the what if I did this? What if, I knew and I didn't do anything? Did I miss something? Was something said and I didn't pick up on it? Um, coming as a third party from her situation, that's what it feels like to me. But from what she said as the victim, when that violation goes on and it's someone you trusted, the confusion sets in because you're like, wait a minute, I thought this person loved me. I thought they were my friend. I thought they were my confidant. And then you start to think, did they really love me or were they just trying to condition me into doing this?
Right.
Yes, Emily. Well, for me, I've been betrayed by many people of authority, y'all. Just many people in general. Like I shared previously that I was the one who, just let people do whatever they wanted to do. I've always been in survival mode. It's just, this there was a way for me to protect myself. So I thought. Um, but I've been betrayed just growing up, cousins, family members, the police, just uh, friends at school, teachers even. And y'all know I still sit back and I think sometimes, like I told my teacher some things that were going on, and she consoled me. She let me know that everything would be okay, but she did nothing. you know, and I always think about that, and it still kind of hurts a little bit because growing up, your teacher's supposed to be a safe haven for you.
Right.
But yeah, I still have issues, even dealing with my experience and my children. My kids don't go. They don't. I don't let anyone watch my children. You know, some may say that's a bad thing, but I consider it a good thing because nobody's going to care for my children the way that I care for my children. And I don't want, the same things that I experienced to happen to, I don't want my kids going through certain situations, not if I can help it. So, and they know that they can count on mama. So, I don't want to put them in a predicament to where they can be betrayed like I was.
Absolutely. And I really, I want to thank you both for sharing those stories. And Emily, make sure to thank Omega for allowing you to share that story.
I will.
Because how does silence show up differently for each woman? I mean, I know the times that I was silenced, how it showed up on my end, but how does it, in your opinion, how does it show up differently for each woman?
Silence for her was out of silence for her was out of survival. Um, there was a lot of low self-esteem, a lot of what did I do wrong? A lot of um, uncertainty, um, just all those things that come with it, you know. She never once said something was going on. Never once was it, I don't want to go over there, but it's because things were,
You muted, Emily.
But it's hard to you know for well, I can't even imagine, Emily, how you feel, because I haven't been through that, but I can feel how you feel a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, and Omega, she's strong, yes, yes, but she get it from her mama.
Yeah.
Hey Omega, hi, there's that beautiful face.
So yeah, she just, she is strong. And like Medusa, that hurt, that anger, that trauma has made her who
Mhm.
she is today. And I guess that's why I see it differently because, through all that trauma, she's now this beautiful teenager who's blossoming and growing. And, it's beauty comes out of trauma.
It does,
It
yes, it.
does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, and you saying that, um, and I'm not going to get into much detail, but you guys, know some of my sister's story. And I
Mm-hmm.
see this beautiful, person emerging from all of that pain and trauma that she's been through. I mean, me and Miranda just had this conversation earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That, this last year has been a rough year for her, and I just have this feeling in my gut that she's coming out swinging next
She
year.
really is. Yep.
She did a lot of work on herself and a lot of internal work, and I just have it. I mean, I can see it in her. I can see it in these last couple of weeks of this. She's coming. You know what I mean? And it's kind of where it's not punishment anymore; it's protection, and it's not a curse; it's an armor, and you grow from that trauma. And I guess for lack of better words, like the phoenix, you
Yes.
rise above it all, and all of us have had our different trauma in our lives and the different things that we've went through. And like Medusa, we build this wall around us to protect ourselves. Um, and it's so we don't get hurt again. And you keep everybody far away at arm's length to protect yourself. And you realize at the end you're just hurting yourself because you've let that anger and that pain harden you.
Yes. Exactly, Brittany. So,
So I'm going to say here, what if the thing they called your downfall was actually your shield?
ooh, what if the thing they called your downfall was actually your shield? Now that's some powerful SHIT. Look, because that is exactly how I feel about my experiences. My downfalls have become my shield. My
Yeah.
downfalls have become my power today. And I tell people that all the time. They look at it totally different. They look at it, for me, it's wrong to look at it as something that's holding you back. It's only holding you back because that's you're letting it hold you back, or you're
Right.
letting this affect you in a negative way. What I use my pain as power now. When I think about it, it lights a fire under my ass. It fuels me. I don't let
Yes.
it I don't let it, take me back. I don't let it stop me from doing anything. If anything, I let it make me a jet and I be gone. But the more, and I notice the more, you know, emotion that I feel or negative emotion that I feel, I get
Mhm.
more creative. I start to do more things. I get ready. I stay prepared. And so that is my downfall is definitely my shield. It's definitely my power.
Jordan, what about you?
I am an incredibly emotional person. I wear my emotion on my sleeve. It's all over my face. I don't hide it. It is there. And for the longest time, my such strong emotions, I always thought, it was a bad thing, but I've come to learn that, it's okay to feel the ways that, the way that I feel. It's okay to feel like the strong emotion. It's just who I am. And so, like, I'm learning that it's a part of me and that it's okay. It may not be my shield because nothing protects me from my emotions. They are there. I can't hold a shield up against them guys, but it is definitely helping me become who I am and find myself.
We got you, Emily. But that is part. I guess maybe not a shield, Jordan, but it is part of who you are. Instead of looking at it as a curse, it's you. You're not looking at it as, oh my God, I have these emotions and they're right there. And, why do I have to cry because the puppy, fell off the bridge? You know what I mean? It's who you are. That, and embracing that, you're, I guess it is becoming your shield in a way because you're embracing the fact that your emotions are right there out on Front Street. And it is who you are. It's take it or leave it, all or nothing.
I think in the very rare circumstances that your downfall is not your shield, there are some. And my very weird split personality brain kind of thing, the way that I'm thinking of is, it's not so much my downfall, it is who I am, but then there's you. Not to get all emotional, touchy feely or anything like that, but there's you that is kind of the shield from the outside world because I'm allowed to be my ditzy, stupid self over here because you're going to protect me from all the other stuff going on. So I guess in
Yeah.
a way, family, family sometimes can be a downfall because family is family, but it
Mhm.
also becomes a shield. It becomes the strength of who you are.
Yes, Jordin. I love that, Jordin.
And that goes into what I said before. I guess the anger and the protection aspect kicked in, and it is my shield. Jordan specifically, she is my little sister, and I will fight the devil himself over that girl. So I can see myself as, I know at times my anger has been my downfall. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, it is my shield. It goes hand in hand because the love, you're muted, Miranda. The love and the protection that I have for them is going to shield them from it the best I can, the best of my ability.
Right, Brittany.
Emily, do you have an answer? Are you able to answer? I know you said the kids were being loud.
So here come my emotions. Talking about shielding, a lot of what happened in that situation caused me to be a shield for Omega. And I have to be very careful because, like you, sometimes that shield becomes so thick and so strong that I don't allow her to be her. That I
Right.
forget that she's an individual and that, before she was scorned or hurt or however you want to call it, she was different, and so I have to be very careful on when to make that shield a little less so that she can still be
She can blossom.
herself,
Yeah.
and so that she can still bloom. Um, and there's that fine line that you really have to think about. Um, so yeah.
I learned this thing in therapy, and it's not totally relevant right now, but it felt like it needed to be said. Your emotions are your own, your feelings are your own, and it is okay to feel the emotions that you feel. What is not okay is to act like a rabid raccoon in a trash bag. And, you know, but what I mean by that and how this is relevant is, you know, direct your anger where it needs to be. Don't just lash out because you're angry. Don't just lash out because you have strong feelings. Direct your anger where it needs to be. Put it to the right place. Not to get political, but if the politics in your area don't add up to what it is that you want, fight for the things that you believe in. Fight for who you are. Fight for, all the women that can't fight.
Excuse me.
But don't act like a rabid raccoon in a trash bag while you're doing it.
You're muted, Miranda. Were you trying to talk? Were you saying? Oh, okay.
No, ma'am. All right. Well, we are going to wrap it up. And I hope you
hold
enjoyed
on,
this.
Miranda. Sorry,
Uh,
before you do that. Sorry, Miranda, before you do that. Omega, did you have anything you wanted to say? No, you just wanted to say hi to everyone? Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Omega girl.
Girl.
But y'all have thank you all for sharing. Like, I am proud of what we got going on, what we doing. We put Medusa out there. We putting us out there in hopes to help other women. So if you like what you heard today, y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if y'all would like to be on one of the episodes, because we would definitely love to have you. And check out the first episode of the Medusa Project. And we are coming back with another one. Brittany, you want to
Thank
close
you.
us out, girl?
Yeah, like she said, we are going to dive deeper into the Medusa story and how it reflects with women today, how the world responded to her pain. I want to talk about the power, the rage, and the reclamation in the Medusa story, and as you learn to hear how much something from so many years ago is still relevant today. And so I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank you ladies for being here and sharing very vulnerable moments in your life. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Everybody.